We have explored the expectations in society in this generation and what power they give to each gender. We questioned 19-year-old Holly on her opinions on equality today.
I would classify feminism as something that's really needed. It just basically means having equal rights. It's about fighting for both genders to live in a world where they're not judged by their gender. A lot of people think that feminism is about hating men and hating the power that they have, and it's not at all. It's about everyone being equal in the ways that men aren't equal to women, such as the rape cases and ways that they're treated in society are unfair, and are equally as unfair as the pressures on women to be a certain way and the slut shaming and things like that. It's about fighting for both genders to live in a world where they're not judged by their gender. A friend of mine was in a human rights lecture, and her lecturer said to the class, "Hands up if you're a feminist," and about half of the class put their hands up. And then she asked, "Okay, so hands up if you believe in equal rights." And the whole class put their hands up, and she turned around and said to them, "Yeah, but it's exactly the same thing." Like, everyone thinks that women have always got it worse, but sometimes they don't. For example, when it comes to rape cases and things like that, men's rape cases are always kind of taken as a joke, and it's nowhere near as treated as seriously as if it was a woman, which is obviously completely unfair because it's just as unjust. Being a woman in Britain is easier than it is in a lot of different countries. Obviously, a lot of different countries have stricter regulations on how a woman has to be. There are still issues with how it is in the UK. For example, in rape cases, women are still asked what they were wearing and whether they were drunk or alone, as if they hold some sort of the blame for being raped and it's not the man's fault. And also, women are still judged so heavily, especially in the media, based on what they wear, how they act. They're so heavily judged if they are promiscuously dressed, then they're a slut and they don't deserve a man's respect. But if they're respectfully dressed, then they're a prude and they're boring and they're uninteresting to you. And I just think it's so unfair, the levels of labels that are put on women in particular with slut shaming. It just really needs to stop. What's the worst possible thing you can call a woman? Don't hold back now. You're probably thinking of words such as slut, whore, bitch, cunt, skank. Okay, now, what is the worst thing you can call a guy? A fag, a girl, a bitch, a pussy? Notice anything? The worst thing that you can call a girl is a girl. The worst thing that you can call a guy is a girl. Being a woman is the ultimate insult. Now tell me that that's not royally fucked up. Women in the media are just expected to look sexy all the time. They're expected to have massive boobs and a tiny waist and a massive ass, and that is what is considered sexy. And if you're not like that, then you're not sexy and you're not what men want, and you're not allowed to love your body. And then men are supposed to be hench and go to the gym all the time, and they're supposed to be slim, and if they're not, then they're not considered attractive either. There is so much pressure in the media for both genders to be absolutely perfect, and there's no leeway between anything. You cannot love your body if you don't look the way that the media presents the way that you should look. But also, obviously, women have to deal with men who still think in the 21st century that their body is their property, when it's not. It's if a woman is wearing a short skirt, if a woman is wearing a short dress, whatever a woman's wearing, it doesn't matter. Her body is her property, it isn't yours. Today already, I was walking down the street and a girl with her boyfriend shouted out the window, "Slut" at me. And what is just ridiculous is that not only do people from different genders enforce gender expectations, but people from the same gender enforce it as well. Like, women slut shame as much as men do. Girls calling each other sluts and whores just makes it okay for guys to call us sluts and whores. People think that the way that you act in a relationship like whether you're dominant or not is to do with your gender, and if you're a woman who's more dominant in a relationship, you're seen to emasculate the man, but it's nothing to do with that. It's nothing to do with your gender. It's to do with your personality type. Like, certain women are more dominant and certain men are more dominant, and just because that is the way that they are, that doesn't mean that they are enforcing or rejecting any gender roles. It doesn't matter.
We have hit the streets to find out opinions of the youth of this generation when it comes to dating. If you're on a date, would you expect the guy to pick up the check?
I would like him to because I'm poor, but I would probably try and pay half.
Yeah.
And let him do it if he really insisted, but I would pay half.
I would, yes. I'd always offer myself, but I would like it if they paid, yes.
I guess because it's the first date, you don't really know where it's going to go, so it's kind of, I don't expect them to straight away pay for me. However, if I know there's a second date, I do prefer if they pay for the bill. However, the first one is just kind of a get to know each other.
Yeah.
You would? Would you ever expect the girl to?
After a while, yeah.
I'll pay for the bill every time I go, but it depends. Sometimes your girl wants to pay, so but obviously for the first date, you have to pay for the bill.
No, half sounds good to me.
On a first date as well?
Yeah.
How would you normally pick up a girl, like that, or?
I think it depends on the girl. Like, it depends how you see the girl first look. Like, if the girl looks scary, like if she gives you attitude from the face, you can tell from the face, the expressions. But then, if I like a girl, I would just go to her.
Yeah.
How would I pick up a girl?
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I'd get picked up.
Approach her, be nice, buy her a drink. I don't dance though, so I wouldn't have danced with her.
How would you expect a girl to approach you?
I don't know, like, buy me a drink maybe,
I'd like to be picked up by like just general conversation, I guess. I'd like them when they don't keep it too sexual though, because it's really off-putting when a guy like obviously just wants to get with you.
Do you believe that chivalry is dead?
Slightly. I think maybe the way they do it is a bit dead, yeah.
I think that would depend on the person. I'd say the majority of men these days, yes. I think the average thing to do to hook up with a woman or a man would be in a nightclub, drunk maybe. I'd say that's the average thing.
No, actually, I think it's still a thing. People let me on buses all the time in front of them because I'm a girl and it's a guy. People open doors for me, people hold doors for me. I think it's still alive.
Chivalry has nothing to do with money. It's all to do with equality in relationships and how you treat other people. Equality is not a concept. It's not something we should be striving for. It's a necessity. Equality is like gravity. We need it to stand on this earth as men and women, and the misogyny that is in every culture is not part of the human condition. It is life out of balance, and that imbalance is sucking something out of every soul of every man and woman who is confronted with it. We need equality, and we need it now.